even though RB8 provides a lot of information for each job, it does not mean that I have to have a complete information before I can enter a job into the calendar. Let's see how we can set up a job very quickly when we have a minimal information from the client. In the Calendar Manager window, simply right-click, go bring up the new function. The only field that is absolutely required is the contact field, attorney, which shows up in blue. So simply go ahead and click the binoculars next to the contact, pull up the attorney's name, select the attorney, and once you do that, only other field at this point that a secretary knows is the date of the depot. So she needs the reporter for March 19th. And at this point, secretary says that she will basically fax you the notice later in the day. And so with that, I can just simply go ahead and save and close. So again, if you have the attorney, contact, and a job date, then you can set up a job with those two information. Later on, when you get the notice in the fax, simply right-click on that job, and this time go into the view, and then you can change, for example, time to 9 o'clock, and the location will be the same as the ordering attorney's office, and then go to job repository and upload the scanned notice file. But we'll see more in detail when we set up next job, and then we'll take time to show you each field. Now let's set up another job. This time we'll take our time to look at each field that RB8 stores for each job. Again, in the Calendar Manager, right-click, New. We need a contact, so go ahead and click the binoculars. And Mr. Daniel Berg's office is calling. And I'll go ahead and double-click on the Daniel Berg to select him. Now, in the Order By drop-down, and these are the assistants you have entered for Mr. Daniel Berg. And you can pick one of these people. If someone else is on the phone, then you can actually physically type the person's name here. So she might be temporarily helping attorney today. Now, if you type a name here, it will not be automatically saved in the attorney's profile. This is just for this calendar, this job. So if the Joanne is the new secretary, well then definitely you should go ahead and change it in the attorney's profile so that she can be a permanent assistant. Now next is the job date. Now you can have a single date, or you can have a multiple date. You can set up multiple depots all at once. But I'll show you in a minute how to set up multiple days at once. So for now, let's say the depot is for simply Tuesday, the March 20th, and you tap down to the next field. And now I'll explain in a minute why the start time comes up 6 a.m. because no depot actually will begin at 6 a.m. That is my warning flag to indicate that someone forgot to change the time. So my default is something that I set at the global settings of system preferences to be 6 o'clock in the morning. So let's say the job's going to be 10 a.m. The ending time, I don't know, so that I'll leave it at 6 p.m. as late as possible. The job type, it defaults to depot. If it's not, if it's a video or video conferencing or captioning cart, then you can pick a different job type in your drop down. The business unit, this is the satellite office or other revenue centers that who will be in charge of this job. Again, you can change if it's not the default. Then there is the linked job. We'll explain that a little bit later. The witness name, if the witness name is known at this point, so you can go ahead and put in. Let's say this is the witness Dr. Young Lee. Now again, is he expert? You can either say yes or no, or if you wanted to specify the person's specialty, again it comes from your drop down. You can say medical. If you had to subpoena this witness, then you can check this box to indicate to the reporter this witness might be very hostile because he has been dragged by the subpoena. Now we come to the case, which is a lookup field because it's the grayed out text box with the binoculars next to it. So you simply always look up the case that this job belongs to. Now let's say I type Lee because this is the Lee versus the junk motor case. So here you can just simply double click the case name. Now if this happens to be the new case that they are starting up, your client is, then simply you can hit the new button to actually set up quickly a new case and use that for this job. But at this time I'll just go ahead and double click the Lee versus junk motor to specify the case. Next, we need to know where job's going to be at. So click the location tab. Now if the location is going to be the same location as ordering client or noticing attorney, simply check this box and then all the information will be copied from the scheduling attorney, and you might specify the room number or the floor where the reporter needs to go. Now if not the same location as ordering client, the next possibility might be it could be at the opposing counsel's office. Now we have two tables you can look up. One's called location, one's called firm. So now since all the law firms will be stored in our firm table because we need to build them later, so you switch to firm and then look up binoculars and simply type in the firm name. So let's say this is the Rice firm, Smith Connolly Rice, and simply double click it. Again, then all the information will come up for that law firm. The third possibility is that this can be at the hospital or doctor's office or your own conference room or hotel somewhere, and or private residence or office. So all those data or locations we store in a different table. This time it's the location table. So switch to location, then look up, and you say Dr. Kevin's office, and simply pull up so that this information will be coming from the actual location table. The last option is called manual, which I do not really recommend that you use it. The manual is the way the RB7 was. You just simply type the name and address, this information every single time manually. Now it might be quick and easy for you, but it will not help you in the future. If we ever have to go back to this location, this information will not be stored in the location database. So if it's all possible, do not use this option. Try to save every single location into the location table for the reuse later time.